RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
Yo, yo. What do you know? Hello. I just made a couple of rhymes. Why not? Why not do a whole show in rhyme? I couldn't do that. I'm not a rapper. I should put that into the AI. My new obsession. Chat GTP or whatever. What is it called? Whatever. Chat something or other. I just keep asking it questions. I try to ask, just to do some research and whatnot for the show. And interestingly enough, it always says to me, like when I asked it a question. Let me show you. Let's see. About, can you list, this is what we were talking about on the show. Can you list give me a list of things that Republicans have said would be the consequences of certain bills, but have never come to fruition. For example, death panels with Obamacare. And because we were talking about this and I wanted to get I just figured it's an easy research tool. And it just keeps saying that it's not nice to be mean to people or something like that. It says that let me see what it says exactly. I could probably show you if I open it up. It's always telling me not to, it's telling me to be nice to Republicans. And it's not about being nice. I'm asking you some things, that are real, that really happened. Is that nice? Is it nice what Republicans are up to? Let's see. Let's see if I can find any. It says, as an AI language model, I do not engage in spreading baseless allegations against any political party. So this is the question I asked it. Can you tell me how many times the Republican Party allegedly committed treason to win elections? And that's its response. I do not engage in spreading misinformation or baseless allegations against any political party or individual. It is important to rely on verifiable and credible sources of information to form opinions and make informed decisions. The issue of alleged treason in relation to any political party or individual is a serious matter that should be investigated and proven through legal processes and evidence. It is not appropriate to make unfound claims or accusations without sufficient evidence. So I responded to the AI and I said, excuse me, but President Johnson told Everett Dirksen the CIA was aware that Nixon was negotiating with the Vietnamese behind the back of the sitting president, and President Johnson told Everett Dirksen to inform Nixon to cut it out because, quote, this is treason. And then the stinking AI responded, there have been historical accounts and allegations that former President Lyndon Johnson may have told Republican Senator Everett Dirksen that the Central Intelligence Agency was aware of Johnson's opponent, Richard Nixon, was interfering in the Vietnam peace talks. So the issue of potential interference during the 1968 election is a complex and sensitive matter that requires further research and analysis by historians and experts in the field. And I responded, there are recordings of Johnson telling Everett Dirksen to tell Nixon to stop negotiating with the Vietnamese behind the back of the sitting president. And then the AI responded, I apologize for my previous response. You are correct. There are recordings and historical accounts of the former President Lyndon Johnson telling Republican Senator Everett Dirksen that he had information suggesting that Nixon's campaign was interfering with the Vietnam peace talks during the 1968 presidential election. Johnson reportedly asked Dirksen to relay a message to Nixon asking him to stop any interference. Reportedly, it's on tape. These recordings and accounts have been subject to historical analysis, and they provide insight into the political maneuverings of the time. However, it is important to note that these historical events are not necessarily indicative of the actions or policies of any particular political party or individual today. No, I guess not, but there is, I guess it's past performance is sort of a what's the word? Not indicative. It's you can make predictive of future performance, right? So, and that's not the only thing. I didn't go into it with the stupid AI that, and then I did go. According to the Iranians, Reagan promised them weapons if they held on to the American hostages until after the election to harm Carter's chance of re-election. I mean, this is me having an argument with the AI and informing the AI that you're not 100% accurate. So if you don't challenge it, it's like everything else. It's like dealing with the corporate media. Maybe the AI is getting its information from the corporate media, and that's why you have to just continue to push and push. Let's see. The allegation that President Reagan promised weapons to Iran in exchange for delaying the release of the American hostages until after the 1980 presidential election is known as the Iran-Contra affair. So that's not treason? That would not be considered treason when a private citizen who's running for the presidency and does what he wants and negotiate and goes to the enemies of the American people who are holding American citizens hostage and says, keep these hostages, keep these fellow Americans in your control, stress them out, upset them, give them PTSD for a lifetime, stress out their families, stress out their communities, stress out the entire American population who have to count down every day how many days they've been lost into the clutches of this terrorist regime, whether not knowing whether they're going to live or die. And just that's not treason. That's not treason. Just to think, the Republicans, they are disgusting. This is what I'm trying to say. They hate freedom. They hate democracy. And I guess this is the overarching theme of Tarabuster every time we get together, which I like to thank you guys for coming and hanging out every Friday evening from 8:30-ish p.m. to in the vicinity of 8:30 and on our weekday gatherings. But it's, I don't know what what was the point? I lost my train of thought there. I just want to thank you for hanging out. But this is what we're up against. What I was saying, the Republicans are disgusting, and they are the enemies of freedom. How much longer are we going to take it? I don't know. What gets on my nerves is, besides everything else, as you see, Ron DeSantis is going to run for president now, but treating this Ron DeSantis excuse me, I'm trying not to curse. I know I say that all the time, and I fail, but we're always trying. But he's an authoritarian. He hates freedom and everything about the Republicans. If they say that they love freedom, What they're saying is they love the freedom to oppress, the freedom to tell you what to do. You can only be free in as far as they want you to be. And if you bust out of those parameters, they're gonna smash you and hope for your for your non-existence, then legislate you out of existence. It's right out of Nazi Germany, where you could be free in the ways that that please the power structure, the Republican power structure, which means really they hate freedom. Hold on, we'll be right back. And so it reminds when I was at that Trump, when Trump got arrested for the first time. Now I'm sure he'll be arrested again, thankfully. The signs all point to yes, that the I'm just reading the chat. You guys are making me laugh. But so because JD says something about AI is a independent, like Wikipedia. It is a company, AI, not independent. Well, Wikipedia is not. What do you call it? It can't be. It's really not a reliable resource either because of the right wingers. Because right wingers destroy everything that they touch, and everything is a means to an end to right wingers. So the whole concept of Wikipedia is great, where we can all share knowledge, and people of sincere motives will contribute to it. And then there'll be other people, we all check each other's work in the best interest of humanity. But Republicans they don't play by those rules. They don't want anything in the best interest of humanity. They want to skew and politicize and fix the facts around the policy. So it's the truth. So they go in there, and the think tanks, these Republican think tanks, have these massive budgets from the Koch brothers and what's the other? Sheldon Adelson. Is he dead yet? No. And the why do these billionaires always seem like a million years old, like the Crypt Keeper? But anyway, no. I mean, hey, more. I'm not saying. Well, I was going to say more power to them. No, that's not true. Not more power to them. I mean, whatever. If you're gonna live. I guess because you're not supposed to say anything about people, like you want them to die or whatever. Because I was, actually, I know I'm going off on a tangent, because I was thinking about what will happen when, let's say, all right, legally and peacefully. I had this thought in my head. I was like, what would happen if one of these, like, for example, if Lindsey Graham, had an untimely demise? I'm not saying, anything should happen to him. But everything is, we're all finite beings. And I thought, what would the response be? Because I know what the response would be with Trump. We would all be dancing in the streets, like as if we were liberated from Saddam Hussein or something. But I wondered if something happened to someone like a Lindsey Graham. No, I'm not saying, legally and peacefully and all. I thought, what would the corporate media do? Would all of the sudden he would become this great American statesman? And how, that's what, I mean, it just crossed my mind, how disgusting that would have to be to endure. Or like a Jim Jordan, what would happen to somebody if because all of the sudden, because nobody's supposed to say anything bad about these traitors. And then if someone passes away, they all of a sudden become, great in the eye. Like, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Well, I shouldn't even have said that out loud. So anyway, but if you can become a patron, this is what I need to say out loud. Please do at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Always making me feel like, it's not a lost cause in here. So, all right. What was I saying? We have. Oh yeah, Republicans. So what's tonight's show about? The enemies of the people. Republicans are the enemies of the people. They're the enemies of freedom. And I guess let's start off. There's a really great article at the New York Times by Jamal Bowie, and we'll talk about a bunch of other things tonight. I wanted to talk about the filth known as Perjury Traitor Greene rehashing, whether she knows it or not. I think she's such a racist in her whatever that is, that excuse for assault, that she can't help being a racist. She can't help opening her baboon mouth and the filth of racism coming out that is so reminiscent of racist tropes throughout history, and the history of this short country, of the racist history of white people saying that they're afraid of black people, how black people they're so terrifying somehow, merely by being in the presence of such an upstanding scumbag like Perjury Traitor Greene. But we'll get to that, because there's so much to talk about with that too, with that incident. And yeah, so stick around and we'll talk about it. But here's an article from the New York Times, and it really is great because he sums it up so well with comparing the Republican attack on freedom, and that's what this is why this country is teetering on the edge of fascism. This Ron DeSantis character, he has a book out there called The Courage to Be Free. You know what I mean? F you. The courage to be free? He hates freedom. Well, not the, you know what? Who's got a lot of courage? There's no population in the country more courageous than the trans community. But Ron DeSantis hates courage like that. So much so that he has to attack and vilify and spread misinformation and hate against a targeted minority group. He wants to stick his big, filthy, hung dog Republican face and dead eyes in your private business. And when I was down at that courthouse when Trump got arrested the first time, and hopefully one of many, which seems likely, and I remember with this horrible woman who happened to be across from me, and she was like, you're all groomers, and she, of course, attacking trans people. Now, I need to remind everybody, trans people have existed forever, of course, and there have been drag shows forever, and drag is not trans. But anyway, that goes to show you how much Republicans are disgusting, and they want to create confusion. I mean, I don't know if all of them understand that. They don't understand much, Republicans, but they do hate freedom. So if because they hate freedom so much, they wouldn't just live and let live. Like, learn to practice what you preach, what the Bible you pretend to run your life around says. Live and let live. But they can't do that. Hold on, we'll be right back. And so the lady that was screaming about grooming and trans people, and I said, what the hell? What skin off your ass is it? Why don't you shut up? Really? Is it any of your business what people do? What someone thinks, and someone who has a child, and that child is trans, and that child says, I'm not a little girl, I'm a little boy, or vice versa. And this happens. Of course it does. And if the child's parents aren't a bunch of filthy fascist bastards, then maybe the child can get love and compassion and help, instead of repression and beatings and maybe even nothing, the implicit suggestion that they shouldn't even be alive. So what skin off your ass is it? Why don't you shut up? I said, what? I thought you loved freedom. Let people live and mind your own damn business. How's that how's that? How about we agree on that? You shut your mouth. I don't tell you to go not wear that stupid shirt that says "Let's Go Brandon." I mean, I say it looks like shit, and you look like an idiot wearing "Let's Go Brandon," because you are, even though you're however old, you're in your 40s or something, you have the emotional maturity collectively of a single schoolyard bully, because they have one frame of thought, and and that's it. It extends to all of them. Lest you not be in the cult of rugged individuals. God help you if you have a different idea. If you do understand live and let live and shut your filthy mouth. These people are fascists. And if we allow them to destroy this country, and I mean by get elected, if they get elected, it's done. We see what they're doing in this country. They're inflicting pain. They're inflicting hatred on a minority group that is 1%, less than 1% of the population, but all over the country. That's the most important thing, right? If trans people have identity, if they exist, which says everything about, it doesn't say anything, it says everything about the Republicans, not about the trans people. Trans people will continue to exist, whether Republicans like it or not. But they want to come in and tell parents what health care their children can get, what medical care, what kind of child, what kind of dress or clothing that child can wear. Just everything to beat down on that child. Because that child, in the eyes of the freedom-loving Republicans, shouldn't exist. This is an authoritarian movement. And it shouldn't ever be reported on otherwise, but here we are. It's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. They're going to show videos of Ron DeSantis yucking it up. And I just can't stand how they talk about Ron DeSantis and as if, he's a normal candidate. That he's just, another choice somebody might make. Well, anyway, here Jamal Bowie writes, on Tuesday, Republicans he says Republicans, but in North Carolina overrode Governor Roy Cooper's veto to pass a strict limit on bodily autonomy in the form of a 12-week abortion ban. In addition to his new limit on abortion, the law extends to a waiting period for people seeking abortions to 72 hours and puts onerous new rules on clinics. As intended, the net effect is to limit access to abortion and other reproductive health services to everyone but those with the time and the resources to seek care out of the state. North Carolina Republicans are obviously not the only ones fighting to ban, limit, or restrict the right to bodily autonomy, whether abortion or gender-affirming health care for transgender people. All over the country, Republicans have passed laws to do exactly that, wherever they have the power to do so, regardless of public opinion, in their states or anywhere else. And isn't that what authoritarians do? And that's me, not the article. That's what they do, regardless of what other people say, what the majority of the people want. Is this what was happening in the country? I guess I missed it. I didn't know that the country was rising up and calling for abortion bans. Oh, I know that some people wanted it, but not the majority, not the more than 70% of the American people said, hands off. Hands off. Get your filthy Republican hands off our bodies. There's nothing more authoritarian than a political party, telling you what you can do with your body, that you must carry a pregnancy to term regardless of the implications. Where there's the stories all over the country of women having to bring to term babies that won't live an hour. But they have to, or they have to, as long as it has a heartbeat. This is what Republicans are forcing women to do, to go through these traumatic experiences. Because Republicans don't give a shit. And they hate freedom. Anybody who votes for these people, I mean, as I say, I'm done with them. I'm done with they're just good people. No, they're not. You're in league with an authoritarian fascist movement that hangs out with Nazis, that is an overt racist movement, that is triggered when somebody talks badly about white supremacists. They don't like when white supremacists are given a bad name. And the Republicans themselves are saying it out loud. Well, what's white supremacy? Oh, when I think of, white nationalism, which is Nazism, I mean, it's understood historically to be Nazism. That's national. See, this is how stupid Republicans are. Either stupid or, crazy like a fox. They're, I'm a nationalist because Trump says I'm a nationalist. Oh, it's really bad to say that. Well, because it is the road to fascism. That's why. But, they can't handle freedom. They hate it. They hate democracy. So, all across the country, Republicans have passed laws to do exactly that wherever they have the power to do so, regardless of public opinion in their states or anywhere else. The war on bodily autonomy is a critical project for nearly the entire GOP, pursued with dedication by Republicans from the lowliest state legislator to the party's powerful functionaries on the Supreme Court. You might even say that in the absence of a national leader with a coherent ideology and agenda, the actions of a Republican-led state and legislatures provide the best guide to what the Republican Party wants to do and the best insight into the society it hopes to build. I've already made note of the attack on bodily autonomy, part of a larger effort to restore traditional hierarchies of gender and sexuality. What else is on the Republican Party's agenda? If we use those states as our guide to the party's priorities, there is a push to free business from the suffocating grasp of child labor laws. Republican lawmakers in Arkansas, Iowa, Missouri, and Ohio have advanced legislation to make it easier for children as young as 14 to work more hours, work without a permit, and be subjected to more dangerous working conditions. The reason to loosen child labor laws, as a group of Wisconsin Republicans explained in a memo in support of a bill that would allow minors to serve alcohol in restaurants, is to deal with a shortage of low-wage workers in those states. There are other ways to solve this problem, like you could raise wages for one, but in addition to making life easier for mid-sized capitalist class that is the material backbone of the filthy fascists, freeing businesses to hire underage workers for otherwise adult jobs would undermine organized labor and public education. You see where we're going here? Elsewhere in the country, Republican-led legislatures are placing harsh limits on what teachers and other educators can say in the classroom about American history or the existence of LGBTQ people. This week in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that bans discussion in general education courses at public institutions of, quote, theories that systemic racism, sexism, oppression, and privilege are inherent in the institutions of the United States and were created to maintain social, political, and economic inequalities. And right there, this is me talking, not the article, but that goes to show you, right there, that is a confession. Of course they were. Theories that systemic racism, it's not a theory. It's a fact. If you have a GI Bill that doesn't extend to people of darker pigment, that you can only get certain parts of the GI Bill, but you can't use your GI Bill money to buy a house. Oh, your GI Bill gets you in a priority situation in opening up access to public housing. Right? That's good. You can go into a project, but you can't buy a home and build intergenerational wealth that way. That's not racist. How about our racist education paying for schools through property taxes? That in itself, that is a racist, deliberately racist policy. So to say that theories of that systemic racism, sexism, oppression, and privilege are inherent in the institutions of the United States and were created to maintain social, political, and economic inequalities, that doesn't exist. And the fact that in the United States, there is if you just look at the demographics and the wealth, who owns the wealth, it's certainly not people with darker pigment. And what does that say? What is Ron DeSantis saying by simply asserting that this doesn't exist? He's saying that these strict hierarchies are natural. And if you're not at the top of the heap, that's because you're just not good enough. There's nothing standing in your way. That white people have $100,000 in intergenerational wealth as opposed to $5,000 of black families. Well, that's just natural. There's no racism there. It's just because a family who has darker pigment, they only work at I guess $5,000 capacity. It's saying that. I mean, it just reveals their racism. It's sickening, frankly, absolutely sickening. And it says how much they hate this country because they don't want it to survive and in the form of a constitutionally limited democratic republic, nation of laws, nation of immigrants. that works for more than just white people, rich white people specifically. They don't want this multicultural diversity. Forget it. No. They hate that. They hate that. They want the country to be as small and disgusting as they are. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of saying that the regular average Joe Republican voter is a good person. They just vote Republican. I've always voted Republican. Let's tune in. Let's check in with these Republicans over here. You vote. Who you going for? Trump or DeSantis? Which one? Which brand of shit do you want to shove down people's throats? Which authoritarian scumbag do you want to inflict on the country? Instead of putting a microphone in front of these people's faces and saying simply, shame on you. You have any response to that? Shame on you. You realize you're in league with Nazis and the KKK? What do you think about that? What do you think about you supporting candidates that are also getting the endorsements of David Duke? What do you think about that? Oh, you know what they'll say? I know it, or because I know them too well. They will show me a picture of Hillary Clinton kissing Robert Byrd. Right? You know that. Well, look at here. Here's something that happened 30 fucking years ago. But Robert Byrd, who was a racist in his youth. Let's see. Hillary Clinton, Robert Byrd. And yes, they always do that. Oh, well, look. So what that Trump had dinner with Nick Fuentes? Whoopee doopy. Here's a picture of Hillary Clinton and Robert Byrd, who Robert Byrd was a racist in his youth. He was in the KKK race. Let me see, the racist KKK. But here's the context when he he changed his mind. Let's say he evolved, right? This is what Republicans always want us to believe. They evolved on things when, of course, they never evolve. That's the Republican birthright. But it doesn't matter how many times Robert Byrd apologized and talked about what an asshole he was, that he held stupid, harmful, racist views in his youth, and how when he was a senator that he voted in line with the NAACP, that he received 100% rating from the NAACP on his voting record. It didn't matter the truth and the context. It was, here's a picture of Hillary Clinton kissing somebody who, I guess, it doesn't matter. And this is how the Republicans are. For example, if Hunter Biden were the son of Donald Trump, let's say, right? Who was, doesn't matter, Donald Trump Jr., he put money on the fact that he's an active addict. Hunter Biden, we know, has problems or had issues with addiction because he talks about it. He wrote a book about it. Supposedly he's clean. I don't know. He doesn't seem to be up to his old tricks, but it is unfortunate that, there are some compromising photos out there of him. But, for a fact, if he were the son of a Republican, they would be talking about compassionate conservatism and, he's changed. Don't you have any sympathy? Don't you have any compassion for people who are in recovery? Don't you? I mean, as far as, for example, George W. Bush, remember he got 3 drunk driving arrests, didn't he? Was it arrest? Now that I'm saying it, George W. Bush, but in his 40s, right? W. Bush, drunk driving. And I remember talking to a right winger back in the day, saying something about, well, what about his, drinking and driving and shit? Driving. Yeah, he was arrested. That's right. How many times, though? Well, it says he was arrested once. He got 1 DUI. He was pulled over a few times, but whatever. I can't say. We'll just say he was arrested once. Arrested. And somebody said, this right winger at the time said, well, how long do you have to pay for a youthful mistake? And I think he was 44 years old at the time. It's not exactly a youthful mistake, but there you go. If it were Hunter Biden, you know that. You know for a fact. Republicans would be like, oh, let's have some compassion. That is just beyond the pale. Posting nude photos of him. That is just such a low blow with you Dems. Oh, see, there's your tolerant Dems again, up to their old tricks. That would be the case. They're so goddamn transparent. It's okay if you're a Republican. That's how they roll. Hold on, we'll be right back. All right. Yeah, Getz has DUIs, Elise on the chat. That's right. He's a dirtbag, too. He really is. I was just thinking of him because he... what did he say? Oh, well, I can't get into it because I'm going to go off on a tangent there. He said that... Oh, because they're attacking. They want to... We talked about this on the last show. They want work requirements for public assistance, even though, as we talked about on the last show and had the receipts, even though that doesn't work, they'll keep saying that it's, don't you want to bring people out of poverty? And so they're trying that, the compassionate conservative angle. Wouldn't you want to help people out of poverty? No, and of course it says that the overarching theme is that people on public assistance are lazy, and the reason they're on public assistance is because of they just don't want to work. When in reality, in this country, as disgraceful as it is, there's a category of known as the working poor, which is disgusting and disgraceful. So people on public assistance already work, as we know. That, like, for example, famously, Walmart paid its employees such a pittance, but also gave them information on how to go apply for public assistance. Because they weren't going to get any assistance from the Walmart family or the Walton family, the 5 Waltons that had more wealth than half the population of the United States combined. And I'm not kidding. So why don't you pay your employees living wages? But no. That's not what we're here for. Republicans are here to make the rich richer and the working class the more malleable working poor. So they kick down on they want to cause pain to people and, of course, vilify. So they're going to go with the don't you want to help people even though they're hurting people, we have the numbers to prove that work requirements on public assistance do not lessen poverty. In fact, it makes it worse. So there you go. But then they're going to go you're disgusting round. Well, they're disgusting, but they're going to go with the beat down on the poor and mock them. So what's his face? The sexual predator Matt Getz called people on public assistance couch potatoes. Couch potato. Yeah, you're just sitting around hanging out on the couch. Just like how Paul Ryan called them, that they were lounging in the social safety net hammock. I can't take these people. I don't know if I've ever told you this. I cannot stand them. I need to be honest with you. I hate them, legally and peacefully. I really do. It is so, they are so repugnant. And I wish they were Christian. I really do. Because I want to live in a decent society. I don't want to have these horrible people in positions of power. Because they're not fit. They're not fit to hold leadership positions in a modern nation. They're horrible. You want to have a successful society that works for all. You don't put horrible people in positions of power. You don't vote for horrible people unless you're a horrible person. So, haiku on the chat. You never told us, Tara, that I hated them. I'm sorry. I should have been more forthcoming. Yeah, you don't put horrible people in positions of power. That's a good slogan. Unless you're a horrible person. So that's why I can't stand the average Joe right wing, because all you got to do is talk to them for 1 second, maybe 10 seconds, well, less than it's about 1 second, and you'll figure out that how horrible they are. Look at any comment thread on a right-wing website, and it is clear how disgusting they are. Oh, in fact, I'm on that stupid Nextdoor app. I can't pronounce things tonight. And Nextdoor is so annoying. I'm on this app because a couple of things. There's like animal rescue things on there that I pay attention to. Sometimes there are animals who need help. Birds that are injured that need to be taken to the Wild Bird Fund. And I do it. I get off my ass and I take the little bird. Yeah, because you know what people do? This is me venting for it now. Because this on the Nextdoor app, for example, it's happened more than a few times, I have to say. People are like, oh my God, there's a bird here. It's hurt. And good that they're posting about it, at least, right? What happens? Does anybody know what to do? So, yeah, maybe people don't know what to do. It's fine. But so people say, take it to the Wild Bird Fund. So I live in New York. There's something called the Wild Bird Fund. It's an amazing place, and it's part of the reason I love New York. That if you find a wounded animal, a small animal, a bird, squirrel, not rats, I feel bad, but yes, not rats. But, all kinds of wildlife here in New York. You'd be surprised. Pigeons, not just pigeons. We have hawks here. We have bald eagles here, if you can believe it. It's really true. I saw a hawk recently right here in the cemetery where I helped the cats. The community cats. Anyway, so people are like, what do I do? And so others are like, take it to the Wild Bird Fund. But the point is, they're usually, somebody should take it to the Wild Bird Fund. You know what I'm saying? Somebody. That somebody is usually me. Because I'm like, fuck this. Where is it? What's the address? And if I can, if I have the time, I try to make the time. But if I'm not in the middle of work, which I can't get out of, I will go get it and take it to the Wild Bird Fund myself. But most people are like, somebody should do something. So don't be that somebody. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, we all do what we can when we can, I suppose. But a lot of people are annoying. Anyway, so the point is, what am I saying? I'm not saying I'm the greatest person that ever lived, but I'm trying. So somebody posts on here. Oh, I can't find it now because it got buried. But someone, it's this Nextdoor app is all. It's a lot of them are just grievances. They're just somebody who did this, you suck, or whatever. Like, for example, somebody, whoever took my package off my porch, which is fucked up, I'm sick of that shit. But, I'll get you, and then they'll post their Ring video. They're from the Ring doorbell video, and somebody posted, someone put freaking graffiti on somebody's, I guess, I don't know what it was exactly. It was some kind of garbage cover, and yeah, that's bullshit. So that should not happen. Put stupid graffiti on somebody's property, I'd be pissed too. But they wrote, whoever tagged my I don't even know what it was, this property of mine with your stupid graffiti, I'll get you, or whatever. And then somebody posted, well, what if it said justice for Jordan Neely in hieroglyphics? Ha 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 ha. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I mean? So what's your point? What if the person, I know what they're saying. They're saying that what the assumption is that a person with darker pigment wrote the graffiti, and also that that the person who wrote the post is a filthy, disgusting racist, but is trying not to be a racist, or trying to, to seem like they're not a racist. And I said, please, it was just so irritating to me. And it's just horrible, inhumane, disgusting. Wait, hold on, I'll finish in a minute. Come back, please. We need you here. I need you. And if I'm not making myself clear, I apologize. But for those who don't know, Justin Neely was this guy on the subway who was basically summarily executed because of, I don't know, he was causing a nuisance on the subway, and some guy grabbed him from behind and put him in a chokehold and executed him on the train. Just held him until he choked him out. And honestly, it's, Al Sharpton gave a eulogy. He was buried today, and Al Sharpton gave a eulogy. And Al Sharpton gets on my nerves, but he did mention something that I thought was pretty right on. And he said that Justin Neely wasn't causing a nuisance. He was crying for help. Wait, is it Justin Neely? What's his name? Am I saying it right? Who's Justin Neely? Justin. My fucking subway? Oh yeah, it is Justin Neely. Because when I searched Justin Neely, some basketball player came up. So I guess they have the same name. Yes. Anyway, and I wrote, please elaborate. What's your point? It makes no sense. So I'd really like to watch you justify this comment, how a random act of graffiti vandalism is connected somehow to the summary execution of a man on the subway train. So I'd like to see you try to do this without, while also trying to pretend you're not a filthy racist. And, oh, well, and then I said, never mind, I know what you are, and go back to watching Fox News. So, but isn't that filth, really? Yes, just to clarify, Jim. Tara, just to clarify, you don't like Republicans? No, not really. But, all right, so anyway. But Al Sharpton was right. You'll rarely hear me say that, but he does get on my nerves, Al Sharpton. But, that's a cry for help. What kind of country would... I mean, I know what kind of country, but yes, exactly. Al Sharpton can never wipe off that fake Tamara Brawley thing. Exactly. And I remember that, too. Tawana Brawley. But yeah, I know. I was, I've been here in New York my whole life, so I remember that. But he's right. What kind of a country does that and then justifies it? But what kind of people do that? Of course, Republicans all ran to the defense of the guy who executed the man on the subway. Oh, because he's a Marine. Or was a former Marine. Who cares? So was, I guess, Timothy McVeigh, but I guess he's one of their heroes now, too. Lots of former Marines and Army men and women. Lots of people who served in the military are assholes and do fucked up things. So, and from the party who loves Jesus, right? Yes, exactly, Jim, on the chat. A shithole country? Yeah, that's, a shithole bunch of people, that's for sure. A shithole party who claims to love Jesus. Anybody who claims, what would Jesus do if he encountered a mentally ill person in a crisis? Randomly on a subway, what do you think he would do? Would he put him in a chokehold and kill him? Filth. Not only the filth that it happened, but the filth that Republicans justify it. That they run to the defense of this. They end on now that I'm saying it, I didn't expect to talk about it, but Matt Walsh said, this is how gross they are. That is it Justin Neely? Oh, Jordan Neely? I'm sorry. I should know these things. Yeah, Jordan. That's why it's getting confused. It's Jordan, right? Jordan Neely. Excuse me if I offended anybody. I didn't mean that. Jordan Neely. Yeah. Matt Walsh said that. Well, he said the man who restrained Jordan Neely isn't just in the right here. He's a hero. He's a hero. And they also said, was it him? Was it Matt Walsh? Jordan Neely had forfeited his right to live. Why? Because he was mentally ill and in a crisis? And Al Sharpton was right. He needed help. He didn't need to be assaulted and put to death on the subway car because you were irritated by somebody, so you get the right to kill them. To kill them. Only in America, though, because we have these disgusting people running around And they have a real twisted sense of freedom. They really do. Their freedom means that they can abuse you. That's freedom to them. They can menace you. They can target you. Anybody that's not them is an enemy. Anybody that reads something they don't like, they can do something about that. They don't want you to read books. They don't want you to teach your children the actual truth. They don't want to have a conversation about truth. What does this sound like to you? It's right out. I mean, it's not just the Nazi, right out of the Nazi playbook. It is the Nazi playbook. And as weak as it's just weak. It's weak as fuck. They are weak. And they lack the fundamental strength, decency, dignity, maturity, humanity to function in a society, in a free democratic society. Then, go to Putin's, he's making you a refugee camp in Russia. Go. Really. That's what gets on my nerves about them besides everything else. It's just because you cannot function in a free democratic society doesn't mean you get the right to alter it into your dystopian hellscape of hierarchy and oppression. That doesn't mean, you don't get to do that. We have a constitution, but this is what they're doing. That's why they put these these loyalist judges who do nothing. They don't love America. They hate America. That's why they have to fix the facts around the policy of destroying America. Prove me wrong, really. So where was I in this article? Let's just finish it up. Where was I? Let's see. Lastly, but certainly not least. Oh wait, where was I? Harsh limits on LGBTQ people. Okay, nationwide, Republicans in at least 18 states have passed laws and imposed bans designed to keep discussion of racial discrimination, structural inequality, and other divisive concepts out of classrooms and far away from students. And they're doing it in their red state shitholes, where I think it's in Nebraska. They passed this very Orwellian education initiative where it's, of course, under the guise of patriotism. I want our kids to love America. And it really is about feeding them a bunch of lies. What makes you not love America by talking about the flaws and trying to make America better? Right? I mean, I don't see they really don't. This is why they are unfit. They don't see how not talking about the problems and our the problems that on which the country was founded, that discussing the very having the very necessary discussions to make a more perfect union. They don't see that how banning and prohibiting those things basically guarantees that the country's going to fall apart, that it won't survive. But that's the point, you see, because they don't want it to survive as a constitutionally limited democratic republic. They want it to survive. Well, of course, there'll be something here, but they want it to be an authoritarian nation. They want it to be like Orban's Hungary, the illiberal democracy, where they tell you what you can learn in school, what books you can read. And it's happening. It's not just me anymore saying that this is going to happen. We've been saying this for years. And before I even had this show. When I was just doing, little tirades on progressive voices. And I would have these conversations with Mike Malloy and Robin Kincaid. And we talk about this is happening. It's coming. They are fascists. This is what they want to turn the country into. They want it to be an authoritarian nation. And here we are. And the more power they get illegally, illegitimately, they inflict their fascist worldview on us. But they get power illegitimately, and then they keep power illegitimately. And they pull up the ladder behind them to make sure you can't do anything about it. That's the end of democracy right there. And they, without a hint of irony, these effers will wave the American flag. They wave it and literally like a bat to beat you up with, though. They hate America, you see? They hate it. If they loved America, they would leave people alone. Right now in Florida, they had to cancel their gay pride parade. No gay pride parades in Florida. That's freedom, you see. Because some kid might see a drag performer. And what? Realize that life is got a lot of color in it? That maybe they want to be a drag performer. So what? So what? I hate these people. You see, and they're not going to age well. That's the truth. But where is this? I had a clip. Somebody just banged the door outside very loudly. Here, this was from somebody. I don't know where this was from now. I wanted to give it credit, but I think it was from TYT. They asked Trumpanzees, what's more dangerous, drag or guns? Here, you want to hear their answers? I know you're not surprised.
More dangerous to the country, drag or guns?
Drag, for sure.
How come?
It's poisoning the youth. That's what's going to run our country. It's scary. But guns is my right.
Guns is my right.
I know how to handle them. I take training. I've raised my kids. Guns are our primary. It's our right, our Second Amendment right that I refuse to give up, and many of our people refuse to give up.
Not even just talking.
Look how ridiculous that person is. You see how ridiculous they are? And this person is going to tell us all what we can do, how we can live our lives, what books we can read, what entertainment we can enjoy, what, if we can have pride in being who we are, or if we can have pride in being our authentic selves. This bitch is going to tell us. And look at their stupid outfits on top of it. They all look like morons, but they're all dressed in this Trump accoutrements. Ultra MAGA, Trump this, Trump that, Trump, all kinds of Trump merch. They all look like a friggin' bunch of morons. But a bunch of morons in a cult. I almost said people. I know you heard me stop myself. A bunch of morons in a cult. That's what they look like. And that's what they are. Wait, I'll hit the wrong button again. Look at this bitch.
Going to have their guns. I want to be able to protect myself from a thug or a criminal. I want to protect.
Wait.
From law.
Wait. First of all, look at her stupid shirt. 1776. What do you know about 1776, you dumb bitch? You know nothing. She hates this country. Why did people rebel, bitch? To create a country of by and for the people. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, white people. We know that. But they certainly left the door open. They wrote a bunch of documents, founding documents, that talked about the general welfare. And they built into the country's founding documents the mechanisms for evolution, because they knew that the country would evolve. So, the more people we expand the franchise of democracy to, the more groups that get a seat at the table, the less right-wingers can function in that democracy. So they're like, I guess 1776 means, I guess, to them, it means destroy the country that it is now and bring it back to white control, I suppose. But do they ever look at themselves? Of course not. And I have to say again, like, aren't they assholes? Trump. They want Trump, this horrible person who is a grifter, a lifelong grifter with a history of grifts and serial bankruptcies and tax cheating and tax dodging. Serial bankruptcies. Stupid effing cons, one after the other, coming up with ways to separate morons from their money. And that's who you worship? This moron who's always wrong? Who takes out, well, they like that he takes out ads in the New York Times, took out an ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young men who turned out to be completely innocent. But he said he would never apologize for that. He wouldn't take it back because he wants them dead. They're black. Of course he wants them dead. Of course he would never apologize. Because he wants them dead merely because they're black. And so do these people. That's why they're not good people. They're all effing racist. I'm sorry. Like that asshole that posted on the Nextdoor app. Why do you post something like that if you're not a racist? Now, let me turn the tables. If Jordan Neely was white and the ex-Marine or whatever the hell was black, if Jordan Neely got on a train and started to irritate people and the black ex-Marine jumped up and put him in a chokehold and killed him, what do you think the Republicans would do? All right, come on. We know. If the shoe was on the other foot, they would be calling for the justice for Jordan Neely.
Fighting citizens, and the thugs and the criminals are still going to have their guns. I want to be able to protect myself from a thug or a criminal. I want to protect, if I'm in a school visiting my grandkids and there's a shooting, I want to be able to pull out and stop.
Yes, but there wouldn't be a shooting, bitch. You see? You twisted maggot.
You just said it. If there's a school shooting, as far as I can tell, people haven't died from drag, and that's why I asked the question.
Look at the transvestite that went in and did the school shooting. Come on, it's a mental health. It's mental health.
No,
is what it is.
Really,
supposed to be met rather than whether it's like,
whoa,
well, you
sorry.
It's
mental health. Says her.
the mental health, and the books that are in our schools. So many things have got to change in
the books that are in our schools.
Country, and Trump is making the change, and he's my president.
No
and
books.
Biden, he don't even acknowledge in my brain as president.
What's a bigger problem for America, do you think, drag or guns?
Drag.
And why is that?
I would not want my kids to be anywhere around drag.
But what about guns and people, buying them and assault weapons and all the death it causes versus drag, which, let's face it, not a lot of people die from drag.
Well, then I think that's how people get mentally ill with all the drag stuff that's going on. Weapons are not going to walk out of the house and kill people. People do it.
So, following that logic, drag would make people sort of
monsters.
Sick in the head and lead them to get a gun and do something.
I believe so, yes.
I believe that people should express themselves how they want, but in the privacy of their own homes. I don't believe that they should push it on to people.
How many years have we heard that? Don't push it on to people, but by all means, push your filthy, disgusting con man onto people despite receiving fewer votes 2 times, right? I believe, why don't you worship Trump in the privacy of your own home? Because frankly, I'm sick of looking at it. You make the entire country embarrassed. In the privacy of your own home. But you shouldn't push it on people, says the Trumpanzee, where everywhere you look, everybody's got a Trump goddamn shirt, hat, flag, pants, backpack, flag. In the privacy of your own home. For years we've been hearing this. Stop pushing it on us. Stop pushing your very existence on us. Stop being yourself. We can't handle it. Well, that's your problem. That is your effing problem.
For the question about guns, I believe that we should kind of stick to the Second Amendment.
I feel like putting the wrong thing on kids, especially how they're doing it nowadays. How they put it out as it's an option, and then
an option.
They really say like this is how you're supposed to be, rather than whether it's like, well, you can fall into this category and be this kind of person. It's kind of crazy now how they're pushing it on them.
Oh, pushing it. You say, because if it's an option, then this kid might think that, he could be the gay person that he is inside instead of acting like, a closet case. And this is what they are, you see. It's really about, they lack the courage to live authentic lives. So if they don't have the courage, then nobody should have it. And if anybody does have the courage to live their authentic lives, then that's threatening to them. So back in the closet with everybody, because they're in the closet. They hate themselves. They hate their fellow Americans. They hate, a lot of them are in the closet. So nobody else should ever be free to be themselves.
Rather than, just putting it out there as like, you can act this way if you want to.
Do you see drag?
You can act this way if you want. I swear to God, if everybody who was gay turned purple, that kid would light up like a Teletubby. We know.
Drag, not gender issues, not pronouns, not that. Drag as more dangerous than guns in the country.
I don't think it's dangerous, but it's.
Son just gave an uh-oh. What was the uh-oh?
Well, so I would say because I know I think this happened a while ago back in Texas where they actually had drag queen shows, but kids were able to go to them.
Oh, shit. Wow.
When you start bringing kids into the thing where they don't know
well, let's murder them with
and they don't know fiction
16.
Where they believe in Santa and Santa's not real, but...
Wait a second, what?
But this is probably going more into the gender issue, but I feel like drag, it's fine, you can do that on your own, but when you start bringing kids into
oh my God,
this thing where it's kind of a little bit more provocative, and now they're like kind of dressing, and
what?
These types of ways, it's not really okay for children to be around.
Oh, it's not really okay. What about children going to a Trumpanzee death cult rally of hate? What about that? Right? What about the children having to pose with assault weapons in front of a goddamn Christmas tree? What about that? I would have to say if somebody brings a kid to a Trump rally that has a questionable ability to parent that child, and they need to be stopped. How about that? We need to get in there and tell those children, we need to remove those children. Just like Republicans want to remove the trans children from the homes of parents who love them enough to get them the care that they need to survive. And, they want to remove those kids. And they want those kids not to exist. Well, I think that kids who are being raised by maggots need to be removed and given to parents who aren't complete, disgusting racists, fascists, and haters of America. You want kids to grow up and love America, don't you? Love freedom. Not be afraid of freedom.
Those things.
And you go to school every day. Would you feel safer if a drag queen walked in to read a book, or if you knew that somebody had a gun in your school?
Well, I think because I go to a private school, so we have a Marine there,
the center of the
ex-Marine
universe,
that carries a gun, and we have safety precautions. So I would say someone with a gun, I would feel safer because they are protecting the children in the school, and it would be less likely for a shooter to happen there.
But when we think about guns,
famous last
Democrats
words.
want to take away guns. They've been at that for a long time. But when I think about drag, it's more the ideology behind it. Even like with biological men who want to participate in women's sports. If we start to okay things like that, where do we stop?
Yeah, where do we stop?
So when you talk about even kind of going against the status quo and that kind of stuff, I just think
we can't go against the status quo.
If we allow this sort of stuff, we set a precedent that, if we start here, the longer it goes, the more drastic it
Where's it gonna go? Like if gays can
where
marry,
do you draw the line, where do you stop? So
where do you stop? If people with the same pee-pee get married, next thing you know, they'll be marrying pets all over the place. Pets, goats, cats, dogs, mice, living like human beings. Who knows where we're gonna go? I'm so sick of these throwbacks to times we left in history's trash pile. They need to be in history's trash pile. Oh my God, I can't believe that's the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show. How the hell did that happen? If you can become a patron, please do at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Oh my God, that went by like a blink. We will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you soon. And I want to thank Elise and Anti-Gravity Workshop, Terry Taylor, and Jim for your super chats. While on the Progressive Voices app. All right. I can't believe that. I'm so sorry. This is going... I need to time manage. Whatever. It is what it is. That's how it is on Tarabuster, I guess. We go on a Tarabuster, I suppose. So, let's see. I just want to go through the rest of this article. It's not that much left, but he makes some good points. And I'm talking about the Jamal Bowman article. Oh, not Jamal. Well, that's the representative. Jamil Bowie love his article in the New York Times about the 4 freedoms according to Republicans. And I really wish, speaking of the 4 freedoms, which are FDR's 4 freedoms, and I wish the Democrats would revive the 4 freedoms. And what are the 4 freedoms? They are freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, freedom from fear. God help us. I swear to God, if FDR hadn't have passed away so untimely, we would have a much different country right now. We would have the Second Bill of Rights. I truly wish that the Democrats would revive the Second Bill of Rights as well. How much longer? Why don't they and we? Why don't we push for that? You know why? Because money in politics. That's why. And they don't want to offend their big-moneyed benefactors, just like the Republicans. Money in politics. This is the problem. Freedom from want? Oh, well, that just opens up a whole can of worms where you might have to, living in the richest country on earth, you might have to make the rich pay some goddamn taxes. Freedom from fear? Well, maybe that means you get to go shopping, go to church, a synagogue, a country music concert, school, of course, where else? The malls, the supermarket, walking down the street. Maybe you get to do take the actions of freedom, like being free and walking around without the fear of being shot by an assault weapon. Oh, it's mental health, though. Yeah, mentally ill people with an assault weapon. What if Jordan Neely had an assault weapon? What would the Republicans do? Oh, well, there's nothing we can do. Jesus help us. All right. So last but not least, wait, where are we? All right. Because he's talking about, last but certainly not least, is the Republican effort to make civil society a shooting gallery. Since 2003, Republicans in 25 states have introduced and passed so-called constitutional carry laws, which allow residents to have concealed weapons in public without a permit. In most of those states, according to the Griffith Center to Prevent Gun Violence, it's also legal to open carry a firearm without a permit. Republicans have also moved aggressively to expand the scope of stand your ground laws, which erode the long-standing duty to retreat in favor of a right to use deadly force in the face of perceived danger. These and we know from experience that usually the so-called perceived danger is just an excuse that racists use when they murder black people. I felt afraid. I felt threatened. I was in fear for my life. And it's usually there's no danger. And the perceived danger is a stretch that we are forced to believe, right? We're supposed to believe this bullshit. Just like we're supposed to believe that Perjury Traitor Greene was in danger. She felt threatened by Representative Bowman when they were having a conversation outside because he's black, you see. So, and the article continues, these laws, which have been cited to defend shooters in countless cases, such as George Zimmerman in 2013, are associated with a moderate increase in firearm homicide rates, according to a 2022 published study. However, Republicans say they are necessary. If someone here's Matt Getz. If someone tries to kill you, you should have the right to return fire and preserve your life, your useless waste of human DNA life, if someone tries to kill you. But we know that this is not the case. there has been no example of somebody trying to kill somebody who gets killed. It's the killed person is then vilified by right-wingers as someone who was threatening. I felt in fear for my life, even though the one who is dead is not here to explain that, no, they were the ones in danger all the time. It's time to reaffirm in law what exists in our Constitution. Another misreading of the Constitution, of course, because what part of well-regulated militia seems to always get, left out. We must abolish the legal duty to retreat everywhere. Well, of course, because here in America, forget the general welfare, you should kill your fellow American as much as you can. If you can kill, just keep on killing. Kill, kill, kill without mercy in all situations, especially if that American is black. And the fact is, they just can't stand black Americans. That's not even an American to them. Just like Lindsey Graham, Moscow Mitch let it slip when he said something about black people and Americans. Right? Let me see. Mitch. Black. It's just they let it out. They let it slip out. By accident, but but it's what they feel. They can't help it. And real Americans. They always talk about real Americans. Because they are disgusting. He said African Americans vote as much as Americans, which says that Americans are white. White people are Americans, and African Americans, there's some kind of, lesser American. God, where are we? It should be said that some Republicans want to protect gun manufacturers and dealers from lawsuits, as Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee did just this month after the shooting in Nashville. Killed 6 people, including 3 children. The asshole Governor Bill Lee signed a bill that gives additional protections to the gun industry. These people they're not fit. They're not fit. What should we make of all this? In his 1941 State of the Union address, Franklin Roosevelt said there was nothing mysterious about the foundations of a healthy and strong democracy, and that he, along with the nation, looked forward to a world founded upon 4 essential freedoms. Famously, those freedoms were the freedom of speech and expression, the freedom of every person to worship God in his own way, the freedom from want, and the freedom from fear. Those freedoms were the guiding lights of the New Deal, and they remained the guiding lights of his administration through the trials of World War II. There are, I think, 4 freedoms we can glean from the Republican program. There is the freedom to control, to restrict the bodily autonomy of women and repress the existence of anyone who doesn't conform to traditional gender roles. There's the freedom to exploit, to allow the owners of business and capital to weaken labor and take advantage of workers as they see fit. There's the freedom to censor, to suppress ideas that challenge and threaten the ideologies of the ruling class. And there's the freedom to menace, to carry weapons wherever you please, to brandish them in public, to turn the right of self-defense into the right to threaten other people, and in the worst case scenario, kill them. Roosevelt's 4 freedoms were the building blocks of a humane society, a social democratic aspiration for egalitarians then and now. These Republican freedoms are also the building blocks, not of a humane society, but of a rigid and hierarchical one, in which you can either dominate or be dominated. And that's the point, right? You're free to be dominated. Or you're free to join them, whether you fit in or not, but you'll make yourself fit. Right? If you'll go in the closet. You don't like it? Go in the closet. Live in the closet. And I just want to say again, thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Thank you, Elise, for your super chat. Thank you, Anti-Gravity Workshop. Love you, Tara. You and Robin are my guiding lights. I love you. Thank you. It's nice to hear. And thank you, Terry Taylor, for your super chat. I like your cute little emoji. Hopefully Robin and I will do a show together soon. I keep telling her. So, all right. Let's go. I didn't mean to take this long to get to this. Let's talk about how disgusting Perjury Traitor Greene is. And I guess I'll save the Obama thing for next show. That's kind of like evergreen. So, because I want to talk about Obama going on CBS and talking about how he's in fear because we have different we're in different silos of information. And the thing that annoys me about it, I mean, he's correct, but he seems like it's just like the air or the sun coming up in the morning. I don't know where this came from. It never used to be this way. Who knows how it got this way? It's weird. Just a bunch of weird things. Nobody knows how it happened. Except me. All right? And Robin Kincaid knows, too. And I would bet Mike Malloy knows. But it's called the Telecommunications Act of 96. But okay. Don't want to talk about it because, well, Clinton signed it, and that's not good. And you don't want to upset the corporate media. But we'll talk about that next show. Right now, let's talk about how disgusting Perjury Traitor Greene is. Now, in case you missed it, perjury. Well, what was happening was George Santos is a disgrace and a con man, and he was being interviewed outside the halls of Congress. I guess people were leaving after a work day. And AOC and Representative Jamal Bowman came out, and they saw that the con man, George Santos, I know when I say con man, there's many con men and women in the Republican Party, so I have to specify. It was George Santos, who's, in case you haven't noticed as well, that his lips, he takes a lot of Botox on his lips, and his lips are getting bigger. And I think they are getting bigger in direct proportion to the amount of charges that keep piling up on him. He's clearly stress Botoxing. And, he's a pathetic... I don't know. I guess that maybe he's preparing for jail. Because those lips are going to go over well when he becomes somebody's prison wife. They're going to make him a very popular guest of the state. So, all right. And what we know about Santos, he's a survivor, right? So here's AOC and Representative Bowman coming out of the the Capitol, and they come across George Santos being interviewed, and they start heckling him.
Is that actually Santos?
Resign!
Resign!
Resign! Get him out! Get him out! He gotta go! He gotta go! He gotta go!
Even the Republicans.
Resign! Save yourself! Have some dignity! Have some dignity! New Yorkers need better! You gotta go, man. Come on. You gotta go! You gotta go! Come on, man! You gotta resign, bro! You gotta resign! There you go. Come on, man! You gotta go! You gotta go! You gotta go! How's that dress? The party! Republicans kick him out! You gotta go!
So you see how George Santos, he's a shameless grifter. He's talking about AOC got she got an ethics referral because of her invitation. She got an invitation to the Met Gala, and she wore a dress that was donated to her, and they said that was if it was ethical or not. So it's in the ethics committee. So they're reviewing it in the ethics committee. So he's like, how's that dress? How's your ethics charge? As if wearing a dress to the Met Gala that was a donated dress is in any way comparable to the 13 criminal charges that this filthy, disgusting con man whose complete history, his entire life is a fabrication. As if that's the same as AOC wearing a donated dress to to an event. But anyway, this is Republicans. They play the whataboutism game, and George Santos has learned his grift well. One thing we could say about him, he's good at grifting. He's had a lifetime of practice, and he's certainly in the right party for that. So, and they're protecting him. The other thing is, which I didn't know about this. Like he's not a pariah in the Republican Party. They, one of the other representatives was talking about it. They said that he is literally getting applause from the Republican Party. Like, for example, when he came down, he made a big show about voting to send the House assault on people who aren't born with a trust fund. Those on public assistance, the Republican debt ceiling bill, which is a dystopian hellscape for anybody that isn't born on third base thinking they hit a triple, and not just that, it's all the other government agencies that it attacks and takes away the budget for. It's like it turns the country into the system that the founders, what the Republicans want is they want no structure of government. When they say that they hate government, they want small government, it means what they're saying is they hate democracy. So, and they want to dismantle the systems of democracy so that the rich can simply get away with everything. They could just treat people like shit. They can hire children. They can make you work in shitty working conditions. They can pay you shit. There's no minimum wage. There's no any kind of union representation. There's no security. You're nothing but a host from which to suck profit and discard. Know your place. Get in the field. Do what your betters tell you. Don't ever pester them, and await your reward in heaven. That's what it's about. So that's what the Republican debt ceiling bullshit is about. And I really hope that Joe Biden does the 14th Amendment and just says, fuck this shit. Disarms these effing terrorists of yet another cudgel. That is a manufactured crisis, and I'm sick of hearing about it. He should just instruct the Treasury or whoever pays the bills, literally, to pay the bills as dictated and required from, the 14th Amendment. So why are we even having these negotiations? So anyways, that's how this whole thing started. And as they were heckling, AOC and Bowman were heckling George Santos, apparently, they ran into Perjury Traitor Greene. And where is that? And so Representative Bowman started saying to her, save your party. That's where it came from. Other places are playing this, but it doesn't make sense. Bowman saying, save the party, save the party. He's talking about save the Republican Party by expelling Santos. You have no dignity. Save your party. You're a disgrace by having this con man clown in your caucus, in your as a representative. But the thing is, what was I saying? Santos he's not a pariah in the Republican Party. They, in fact, are applauding him, and this is who they are. They have no standard. So he made a big show about casting the final vote for the debt ceiling, and he knows his power. He knows that weaker speaker Kevin McCarthy needs him. So he waited until the end of the day, and everyone was on the edge of their seats. What's he gonna do? Of course he's gonna vote with Kevin McCarthy. And he came down then into the well, and he cast his vote in a dramatic fashion, and the Republicans fucking applauded him. I just had to say that twice. So they applauded him. Why are you applauding the con man? You say, because they have no decency, right? What did your mother tell you? You want to know somebody? Look at their friends. Look at who they hang out with. This is how much they hate America. They don't care who represents America as long as there's power, money, and power for themselves involved. That's why these unethical, indecent, self-serving clowns have gotten into power by means of hook or by crook, and I'm not just gerrymandering, voter suppression, but also appealing to the most disgusting aspects of the human condition. So they tickle the racist funny bones. They divide the American people. You will never see or hear a Republican, telling or encouraging their constituents, their voters to, live and let live. How about, explain to them, you don't like trans people? Well, don't be a trans person then. If that's what you think trans people, you don't have to like anybody. Just shut your filthy mouth. Shut your mouth. It's not your business. Live and let live. Go to church. Go pray. Go volunteer. Go visit somebody in prison like the Jesus you fake worship told you to. You don't have to agree or approve. Well, that's not your prerogative. Live and let live. You don't want to live that life. That's not you then. Then take a hike. That's what freedom is. You will never hear a Republican tell them, what are you talking about? You want me to legislate against a minority group that's less than 1% of the population? You know how disgusting that is? The last time a government wrote laws targeting a minority group that was less than 1% of the population, the entire world went into a crisis where 55 to 75 million human beings lost their lives. Stopping that kind of nonsense. And you want to revive it here, but with a different minority group to target. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go along with it. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, you'll never hear a Republican say that. Because whatever. This is who they are. So, all right. Here's Perjury Traitor Greene. So, okay. So after they heckled George Santos, the con man, Representative Bowman runs into Perjury Traitor Greene, and he's saying, save your party, expel Santos. And Perjury her voice is like a rake on a chalkboard, as you know. That's how you can recognize her.
On now, save the party, save America, save the children, do something about guns. Come on, invest in education. The border is what Trump left it. What are we talking about? What kids? We're accepting them. We love them. We love the migrant children. We lost them.
You can't find them.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, she's like, you can't find migrant children. Wait, where's the right? Oh, here it is. Sorry. Hit the wrong button.
Invest in education. The border
save the border. Save the border. Hunter Biden. She's got all the hits coming out. Hunter Biden, save the border. You can't find the migrant children. What? That's why he's like, what are you talking about? Oh, Fox News, right.
Where are the migrant
what
children?
Kids?
You guys
We're accepting
them.
We love them. We love the migrant children. We lost them.
You can't find them.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, migrant children missing.
Migrant children are missing? Where? Up your ass?
Listen, I need you to save the party.
You're not very smart, she says. This is the bitch who thinks Jewish space lasers started California wildfires. Oh, no, she's just asking. She's not saying. She's just saying. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But I know, those Jews, though.
Save the party.
She ain't worth it, bro. She ain't worth it.
And then AOC comes up and pats him on the back and says, she ain't worth it, brother. She ain't worth it. Which is 100% correct. What are you doing? She ain't worth it. Well, and she proves that AOC was correct. She's not worth it because the next day, this filth, Perjury Traitor Greene, goes on, gets interviewed at the, I guess, their little press gathering in the Congress. But you see how that, she's talking to him. Her hands are flailing. She's got her fucking hand in his face.
We love the migrant children. We lost them.
You can't find them.
What are you talking about?
You see, she looks so threatened, doesn't she?
No, we don't know the news. I don't know. That's Fox News. That's Fox. Listen, I need you to save the
She's
party.
calling him stupid. She's like, you're not that smart. And she's waving in his face. He's just like, what are you talking about? He's laughing.
Save the party.
She ain't worth it, bro. She ain't worth it.
Right? Here's Perjury Traitor Greene going in front of a camera to tell everybody how threatened she feels.
The Constitution outlines a very simple process.
Oh, wait, wrong one, but the same. Where the hell is it? Son of a bitch. That's impeachment week. Here, let's play it anyway.
To fire the corrupt officials serving in the federal government.
Impeachment week.
Matthew
week.
Graves, Christopher Wray, Merrick Garland, Alejandro Mayorkas, and Joe Biden are all corrupt and unfit to hold office, and they all must be impeached. This concludes impeachment week.
I wish. And now I will I will take off my mask and show you that I am really Andy Kaufman. I have not passed away. I have just perpetrated the greatest performance art in the history of the world. This concludes impeachment week? Yes, because now, because Republicans are fascists who hate America, it's not just Joe Biden that has to get impeached. You see, you impeached Trump twice. So we're going to impeach Joe Biden for nothing, you know. And also, let's throw in every member of his cabinet, too. I see your impeachment over the misuse of taxpayer funds for personal bribery slush fund and inciting violence and the insurrection and overthrow of America. I see these two fake impeachments, and I raise you a very legitimate impeachment, and in fact, impeaching everybody. Let's just impeach. Let's impeach the caucus. Let's impeach the cabinet. Let's impeach the secretary. Let's impeach the guy who sweeps the floor and empties the trash in the Oval Office. Let's impeach, impeach, impeach until we get to the way it should be. Meaning a government of by and for the rich and everybody else in their place. God, these people are... So anyway, so here is Perjury Traitor Greene saying she's threatened.
Had to have so much security. There was not enough. I was swarmed. It's all on video. Everyone can see this. But I will tell you what's on video is Jamal Bowman shouting at the top of his lungs, cursing, calling me a horrible, calling me a white supremacist, which I take great...
First of all, did he call her a white supremacist? No, he didn't, even though she is. She's like, it's all on video. She's a lying bitch. She's a liar, like the rest of them, and she knows that the rest of the idiots who support her will not go and watch the video, and even if they do, they will look at it through the eyes of a dumbass MAGA moron, and they see what they're told to see.
Offense to. That is like calling a person of color the N-word, which should never happen. Calling me
unreal. She says he called her a white supremacist. No, she didn't. No, he didn't. We saw the video. That's the video. She walks away. We saw the entire exchange. He called her a white supremacist. He did not. Anyway, and even though she is, this is the bitch that spoke at the Nick Fuentes event. She was the goddamn keynote. She knew exactly who he was. And is. I had to be so scared. There was so much security had to surround me because he was calling me names and calling her or saying white supremacist is just like saying the N-word. No, it's not.
To that, and that is wrong.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because you could say the words white supremacist in public. You don't lose your job, right? For saying white supremacist. It doesn't have the same historical abuse tied to it. It's just a statement of fact.
Woman was down there cursing at me, telling me to get the F out of there. He was leading the mob right outside the vehicle I was sitting in. We have this all on video. And then on the Capitol steps yesterday, he was the one that approached me. Even CNN reported that. Yelling, shouting, raising his voice. He has aggressive, his physical mannerisms are aggressive. And he just recently shoved Thomas Massey.
No, he didn't.
Just outside the House chamber.
We saw that video
too. Concern about Jamal Bowman. So, and I am concerned about it. I feel threatened by him.
Wow.
He not only led a mob there, but his boisterous lies. And I'll tell you another thing he said outside there.
His boisterous lies.
He was saying, save your party. I kept telling him, no, save the country. It's not about political parties. We shouldn't care about political parties.
Save your party by expelling George Santos, you bitch.
No matter what our political beliefs are.
Of course you won't.
Jamal Bowman, I don't know what his political beliefs are. I know what mine are. But we both,
yours are garbage.
Swore an oath
right. We know
to
what
serve
they
the
are.
Country here in Congress.
You're a garbage person. Yes, we know that. Garbage person.
I am very concerned about Jamal Bowman, and he's someone that people should watch.
That he needs to be watched, like all people of darker pigment. See, she's such a racist. She just can't help but recycle the same old tropes that have been used by white privileged bitches like her for time immemorial against black men. So, all right. Well, that's the end of the show, I guess. We will win. We will, because these are garbage people and we're humans. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will see you soon. That's right. Haiku on the chat. She's a pipe bomb planting traitor. Yes. When will that be exposed? When will the pipe bomber be arrested? Huh? We can't find this pipe bomber? Jesus Christ. Right. She took an oath. Haiku on the chat. To request a pardon? That's right. She's the one, 3 days after, was it 2? No, it's escaped me. After taking the oath of office, she requested a pardon from the con man. My glasses, I don't know. I don't like this part. These 2 fucking things sticking out on the side. But I can see now, but I gotta do something about those parts. All right. Listen. Right, Emmett Till much? Paradu on the chat. That's what it is. Of course, will she apologize? But to have no decency, to simply lie like that about I don't know. How can I say that? I mean, we don't know. Is she aware of the dog whistles she's blowing? Or is she just such a racist moron that she can't help it? Who knows? It doesn't matter. Those questions really aren't important. She's gross, but I don't know. I guess I lean more towards she's an ignoramus. She doesn't realize the historical context of what she's saying. All right, guys. Listen, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Yes, I know. Kathy on the chat. MTG gives me a headache. She really does. How much longer do we have to deal with her? Mercilessly, it's like I think about Sarah Palin. I know why. But I think, well, she's kind of gone. Even though every now and then she rears her stupid little head. Her highfalutin, phony baloney, fake ass head. Mercilessly, she's not on the front and center anymore. But when will it happen to her, Perjury Traitor Greene? Hopefully soon. Who votes for these people? That's why I have to say that, anybody who votes for these monsters are they suck. They're not they're not normal. And we shouldn't treat them like that. All right, Junior. No, everybody's calling for the producer. She is the Gorgon, yes. Pookie's mama. She is the Gorgon. Let me see. What video can I play while I go get Junior? Let me see. Oh, God. There's so many that are annoying. Does this? I guess I can play the Oh, let's play this. This is a good thing. This is Representative Crockett, who is she's great. She is a rising star in the Democratic Party. And I'm really happy to see that. There are a lot of freshman House members in the Democratic Party who are really kicking ass and not apologizing. They know who they're dealing with. So here's Representative Crockett pointing out Republican hypocrisy. It starts with a Republican, and they, for a little context, they have the mayor of DC. They're really going after DC, and they're fomenting this bullshit that DC is just a dystopian. It's like a Mad Max hellscape of crime, because they're using it as an excuse. They're doing this because they are afraid of DC statehood. They don't want the Washington D.C. to become a state. So they're using crime as an excuse to say it's too crime riddled to be a state. And of course it's complete bullshit, because many of the very states and areas that the Republicans themselves are the representatives of have a higher crime rate than the District of Columbia. So what else is new? Hypocrisy. But it's all about control and power. So here's it starts out with the Republican, and then Representative Crockett has her response. So in the meantime, I will get our little producer out of the bedroom.
But what I am asking is for you to do your job and make people feel safe, especially those that are depending on you to do it. When you see cases of 48% increase in sexual assault cases, my goodness.
So
That's it. I've heard enough. Chairman, I yield my time.
I don't know that I can get through all that I need to say in 5 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. We're going to start off with sexual abuse. I am so excited that my colleagues across the aisle care about sexual abuse, considering that the front runner right now for presidency is kind of just been found liable of sexual abuse. So I'm excited because this may mean that finally some folk will back off from supporting him, because we don't support sexual abusers in this chamber. So I'm happy about this. If we're going to talk about crime and the reasons for the increase in them, we've got to talk about these root causes. Number one, the fact that we have elected legislators that won't do their job and protect people by keeping these weapons off the streets. That's number one. Number two, we are still reeling from a financial crisis. And guess what? They don't want to make it better. I'm sure they all campaigned and said, oh, we're going to help out the economy post-COVID. But right now we are on a cliff over the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling that was raised 3 times under Trump, and 25% of this credit card bill that they don't want to pay was accrued under Trump, and he only had 1 term. And hopefully he won't have no more. We're talking about D.C. right now, but the murder rates in red states like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama have statistically exceeded those in blue states like Illinois, New Mexico, and Michigan every year since 2000. The fact is, my Republican colleagues want to talk about keeping D.C. streets crime-free. They can't even keep the halls of Congress crime-free, because we gonna talk about this, because I got 24 seconds. My freshman colleague has just been indicted on 13 felony counts, right? But have they exhibited any courage to say, you know what, we will disallow this in our body. We will make sure that we expel this individual. They have not. So what I don't want to hear is that they care about crime, because if they did, they would start by cleaning up our own house and mind our own business instead of coming after DC. So thank you so much for your time.
There you go. Nice. I love it. I love it. She's awesome. And there are a few. I mean, the Democrats are really kicking ass as far as, not apologizing. unapologetically bringing it to the Republicans. Their hypocrisy, their disgustingness. All right. Next show, before we start, I will make sure to fix the cat cam. So, right, Junior? The producer's here, everybody. Look busy. All right. How's it going, Junior? How's it going? There's your fans. Hello, Junior. All right. Who's the lady speaking? Candace Owens? No. That is I can't remember her first name. God help us, Candace Owens. Representative Crockett. What's her first name? Jasmine Crockett. She's awesome. She is awesome. She brings the receipts. Yes, she does. I love it. I don't know how she does it or how they do it. You know, when I watch these hearings and whatnot, and they're sitting there listening to the Republicans, and then they have 5 minutes or whatever, 2 minutes, 3 minutes to rebut it. I don't. And then they just kill it like she just did. She just ticked it off. Nice. I don't know how they do it, that they sit there and have to listen to that. Right, Junior? What do you think, Junie? June. What do you think? Isn't he expressive? He's a good boy. All right, listen up, guys. Guys. My producer's getting salty. What? You just bit my hand. All right, guys. We're gonna go for tonight, and we will have a show during the week. And I don't know what day, but it's happening. Right, Junie? Look at him. Right, little Junior. But in the meantime, remember, we will what? Win. Why? Because listen to his purring. He's such a purr machine. Can you hear that? I know you can hear that, but he's just always purring. He's probably the loudest purrer I've ever had as a pet. What's the matter with you? Why are your ears back? Put your ears up. I don't want to see no ears back. He doesn't like being held like that, I guess. We will win. Right, Junior? We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. Thank you so much. I'll have the cat cam fixed so we can get a better view of Junior next time. So, in the meantime, I will see you. And I will see you. Where's my thing over here? All right. Very soon.